Indian silver imports near record at a quarter of global mine supply for this year, 2014. Well, before I read that, I promised somebody I would mention this on my YouTube channel. My boss's wife has actually, I think, 4 brothers. One who is a quadriplegic and is basically living in some type of assisted, I don't know if it's assisted living, but some type of, handicap where the government helps him pay part of the, rent, whatever. The guy clearly can't work the way he is. And he has a van with the little lift gate, so he can get his wheelchair in there, and the lift gate goes up, closes behind him, he gets into the driver's seat. And the thing is very old and falling apart. And she's been trying to reach out to people to, mainly that she knows, to ask if we could, any of us, whatever, could help pitch in to help this guy get a new van. So she remembered I helped that girl Jessica out that I work with in Tennessee, the struggling mom with the 2 kids or whatever. And a lot of my YouTube subscribers came to the rescue. So I've been seeing her emails lately, trying to get some funding together. She set up a site to, I don't even know, I have to go look at my email which one it is, but basically trying to get some donations to help this guy get a new van, apparently. So I said, well, I had a pretty large feedback from my when I asked my YouTube subscribers to help Jessica. And there's definitely people out there willing to give, if you put it in front of them. So she's been asking me for a little while, can you do that? Do you think you can put it on the YouTube? And I said, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that for her. It's for her brother, David. And so basically, I'm just starting this video out. If anyone out there wants to help a quadriplegic guy, help him towards getting a new van, because this is falling apart, I'm going to put a link down in my description box below to that link where you could basically donate. I'm not sure, it's not PayPal. I'm not handling it like I did last time with Jessica, where I controlled the money. Reason being, I controlled that money last time because I didn't know her all that well, and seeing how some of the folk out in the country in Tennessee are, I didn't quite trust that person just to be safe with all that money to help themselves, because you never know what help themselves means to them. So I made sure I was there helping her get her kids the school clothes and the school supplies they needed, helped her get a couch, a TV, didn't even have a TV, things you should have in every house, basically. Mostly, I think the TV was probably the last thing on the list of needs, believe me, but everything else she got that she needed. So again, his name's David. I'm not telling you have to do this, obviously, just like last time, but like she said, there's so many people who want to give if they just knew that there was this person in need. People would join together and give something. So I'm staying good to my promise that I would mention this to her. So I am mentioning it, and you will see the link below. Now, back on the silver front, Indian silver imports near record at a quarter of global mine supply. It looks like at least one country is still taking advantage of the extremely low paper price in silver. From information just released, India continues to import a near record amount of silver in 2014. Even though silver imports slumped in June, compared to last year, demand is still extremely strong. Imagine that. Do you really believe top silver producing countries like Mexico and Peru, as well as other South American countries, will continue to just give away their silver for a mere pittance when the dollar finally loses its world reserve status? In other words, if our powers that be, who have been manipulating the price the entire time now, for decades, with their paper derivatives products, and the US dollar loses its reserve status, and we have this massive hyperinflation, as well as just the fact that we have this massive amount of debt, that debt has to be, quote, restructured somehow, right? It doesn't just go away. It doesn't just say, oh, let's just pretend it doesn't exist, because the whole rest of the world's going to say, yeah, it does exist. And we were living poor for a long time because our dollar wasn't as strong as yours. Now it's time for you to do the same. So do you think those other countries are going to say, while you're doing that and experiencing that pain that we felt, we're going to still allow you in your system to set the price of gold and silver, which you're going to definitely still have to try to keep down, even as your dollar is losing value, being devalued. We're going to just allow the gold and silver to go down with it so you can keep controlling it, which would then make it really, really, really cheap in those other countries, because their currencies may be better than our dollar, stronger than our dollar at that time. There's no way that'll happen. So, our powers that be say, okay, we throw in the towel at least a little bit. Let's let the price of gold and silver rise pretty severely, so that the rest of the world still lets us control the price. You know, in other words, our market, our COMEX sets the price. So we want to keep that going. So let's just finally throw in the towel a little bit, let the prices rise. Or don't do that, and the other countries of the world are going to say, we're not looking at your COMEX or any of your markets anymore to set the price of anything, which also includes oil, wheat, corn, all commodities, right? Gold, silver, other metals. And then they have some mechanism at setting the price. It can only be one or the other. And to be honest with you, I still think even if our guys, you know, our powers that be, let the price rise pretty significantly. Let's say we see $70, $80 silver, $3,000 gold. I still don't think, just because of everything because of how many countries, even our own allies right now, kicking us to the curb to go join the BRICS nations, Russia, China, Brazil, India. I still think they're going to be saying, look, it was nice while you guys had it. You rode that horse till it died. Now we get to control the price. Or not necessarily control it. Maybe there'll be an actual free market for once, in which real price setting mechanism like, you know, supply and demand actually take effect and actually work. I mean, you got all these miners that are being told this is what the price that the world's willing to pay today for gold and silver. So you're a miner, if you want to sell it, this is what you're going to get. If I were the top 3 mining, if I was the top 3 mining companies, I would call everybody. Let's have a conference call, all 3 of us. Listen, I think we're all pretty certain the price of precious metals should be a lot higher than where they are today. Just considering where the prices were before and after the collapse took place, 2008, and the amount of debt the United States has taken on since then, since the high of $1,900 gold and $50 silver, $49 silver, we've taken on an enormous amount more debt on top of that, and yet the price went down, which is not how this is supposed to work. So I'm suggesting that all 3 of us, top miners of the world, decide that we no longer want to allow our prices to be set by this paper, you know, mechanism known as the COMEX, and we just sell the gold and silver for what we think it's worth. And like all the gas companies or all the cigarette companies do, they all charge about the same per pack of cigarettes roughly. So, you know, then you got your premium ones or whatever that they're a little more, whatever. Let's all kind of be in cahoots with each other and just don't need to undercut each other for the, you know, the lowest amount we're willing to take. Let's all set a standard. How about $2,500 for gold, $75 for silver, and that'll be our starting point. Okay, sounds good. Market's no longer relevant. We don't care what the market says. And if we don't sell our gold and silver because the rest of the world says no, we want to pay what the market says, then we'll let the little dwindling supplies go away real quick, and then they'll have no choice. If they want the silver and gold, they'll have to come to us. Oh, okay. See, if I was CEO of the biggest mining companies, that's what would happen. However, the biggest gold mine company out there, Barrick, now has a CEO very recently who used to be a former CEO of Goldman Sachs. Do you think he's going to ever sway from that policy? Ex-Goldman Sachs CEO, now to head Barrick Gold Mine, you think he's going to sway from allowing his company to take more money for gold and silver when he has to take less because he's part of the club, and the club says you got to keep letting us set the price for your gold and silver on the comics. And now, as I said and mentioned this a while back, a few weeks ago when I first found this out, that he was running Barrick Gold Mine, he wanted to try to merge the second largest gold mine company with them. Don't know whatever happened, if that was successful. I don't think it has been. But they wanted to buy, I forget the other company's name. I think it was a Canadian mine, or a Canadian company, but I'm not 100% sure. So they gotta put their guys in the right places so that they can continue this control. So the bottom line is, what happens when all these derivatives products blow up? How are they gonna set the price anymore? And what country in their right mind would say, hey, let's continue letting America with these derivatives that they created? It was their system. American bankers created these derivatives products, which aren't even nothing more than a bet on the bet of an asset. It doesn't do anything. That's what's traded every day, billions of dollars between gold and silver, it seems. Just paper moving back and forth, flooding, left hand sells it to the right hand holds on to it for a little bit, price starts rising, dumps it back off to the left hand. Only way you could do that is if you had a massive position, right? You'd have to have massive amounts of these contracts. And that's exactly the case, which is why CFTC tried to implement the Dodd-Frank Act, that rule that said you got to put position limits in place for gold and silver. And then a federal judge out of New York says, no, the CFTC, the Congress failed to prove why this would be a good reason or would stop any kind of activity that's, alleging illegal activity in the first place. So no, we're not gonna you don't have to implement that rule. Wait a minute. The Congress doesn't have to prove anything. If they want to pass a law, they just pass the law. They don't have to prove the law is going to fix such and such or not. They just have to pass the law. And they did. And right before it was going to kick in, remember that? Remember those days? 2012, 2013, they're going to have the position limits put in place, but it's only going to be for the spot month, which means the month we're in right now. But the contract's way further out, which can number a ton of them. They don't apply yet until 2013, late 2013, when then the whole entire thing, spot month and all other months, has to comply, and you can't have one entity with this massive position. Again, struck down by a federal judge who I checked out. Who was his name? He was appointed by one of the club members. You may know him as President George Bush. Was appointed by Bush. Again, doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, Bush, Clinton, Barack. Please, if you can't see that now, you got problems. Still cheerleading for your group, for your party. How about cheerleading for the person? Matter of fact, when I was in school, like as in elementary, we were practicing, we're gonna vote for a class president, and you're gonna vote, we'd practice that throughout the school year sometimes. I don't recall like, oh, he's part of the football team and she's part of the cheerleading team, and well, those are the only two choices we have, so I gotta vote for them. Yeah, but the cheerleaders, man, they're real stuck up. That's kind of evil. Yeah, but the football players, they think they're the crap, they're the best. They're real stuck up too. Yeah, but the cheerleaders are kind sometimes, so they're the lesser of two evils. So I think I'm gonna go with the cheerleaders this time and vote for Mary. No, I think I remember just voting for somebody, and by chance, when the whole school did it, like when they were saying this is gonna be the school president, all the classes voted for this person. Who did we vote for? You don't remember? It's easy. I'll remind you. For some reason, we all voted for the most popular kid in school. So it's human behavior, obviously, because we have our pure child minds back then that haven't been, messed with yet by our government and propaganda and media. And we all chose the coolest kids in school. That's who we wanted. And I remember a kid by the name of Justin Birdsong. His dad owned a sporting goods store called Birdsong Sporting Goods. Wealthy family. At times they would show up in limousines, if I recall. I think so, just for fun. And people, we'd all see that. Oh my, who's that? Oh, it's Justin. Oh, it's Justin. No, that's it. Just a rich kid. Rich family. And that's who we voted for. So we look at rich people like, Mitt Romney and all these other multi-millionaire politicians that step into office. And, that's who we vote for. And then every now and then, when we have problems in our country, they put one in front of you that you can really relate to all of a sudden. Seems real popular, smart guy or girl, mostly guys, because I've never seen a woman president yet. And I say yet because wait till 2016 when old Hitler steps in office. That old dog. So we get every now and then your country's experiencing problems, people are upset, they're not interested in the most popular kid anymore. Okay, we learned our lesson, we don't like the popular kid anymore. So then some new person steps out, great speech, tells you everything as if he was a citizen just like you, understands all the issues you're going through and your country's going through, and lays out a plan. This is what I'm going to do. Every time you hear him on TV or radio, he's telling you about the plan to fix things. Where has this guy been all my life? No brainer, we're voting for this guy. And then he wins. And nothing changes. As a matter of fact, things get worse. Laws get passed that strip even more freedoms from you. Laws get passed that now tax you more when he promised and promised and promised every other word out of his mouth. You will not be taxed. If you are an American citizen, you will not be taxed any more money. Mark this day. Read the words. Can you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? We're gonna pass Obamacare. Just see, don't ask what's in it. Just let us pass it. Then you can see what's in it. And then we see what's in it. And what is this thing about forcing people to buy healthcare? What if you don't want to buy it? Well, you have to. Well, if you have to, according to the Supreme Court, who ruled on it, you have to. That means it's a tax. So you are being taxed. Oh, but I thought never ever gonna get taxed. Now you have to pay healthcare forcefully. Yet you're getting taxed according to the Supreme Court. So we are gonna get taxed. So now we gotta come up with more money. That hasn't hit anybody just yet, but it's going to. And I just remembered something that I wanted to mention in the WebBot report yesterday, or when I released it yesterday, that I didn't. And in the WebBot report, there was a section in there that talks about the healthcare system, namely Obamacare, failing sometime in the near future. The whole thing, it's just a massive failure. It fails. Can't wait for that day. Take care.